host for today. Welcome back to our forum. Before we start our forum today, let's see this video first.
Turun, 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 turun. Harga barang, harga barang. Hidup, 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 hidup. Mahasiswa, mahasiswa.
Today we will talk about problem in our country. Our main topic right now is inflation. Inflation is increase in the general price level continuously of goods and services in economy. It also can reduce consumers' income by reducing the purchase power. Now, panel, can you introduce yourself and your position, and we will ask our panel deeply about inflation.
My name is Siti Zuleka and I'm Minister of Financial, and this person next to me is my assistant.
Okay, my name is Nur Ani Shafika.
So, Ms. Siti, what happened to our country right now?
Now, our country is in inflation era. Inflation is a problem of macroeconomic when the country find difficult to keep price level is stable. So, inflation is defined as too much money chasing the few goods, and if also situation where the price in the economy keep increase rising over the time. Inflation also can make consumer purchasing power fall the value of money shrink. On this video, we see that most students, especially in university, protest because the price of goods and living increase.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ika. Next, we will ask our panel the advantage and disadvantage of inflation.
Okay, I will tell you about the advantage of inflation. Moderate inflation enables adjustment of wages. It is argued that moderate rate of inflation make it easier to adjust relative wages. For example, it may be difficult to cut nominal wages. Worker resent and resist a nominal wages cut. But if average wages are rising due to moderate inflation, it is easier to increase the wages of productive workers. Unproductive workers can have their wages frozen, which is effectively a real wage cut. If we had zero inflation, we could end up with more real wages unemployment, with firm unable to cut wages to attach workers. Secondly, inflation enable adjustment of relative price. Similar to the last point, moderate inflation make it easier to adjust relative price. This is particularly important for a single currency like the Eurozone. Okay, certain European countries like Italy, Spain and Greece became uncompetitive, leading to larger current account deficit. Because Spain and Greece cannot devalue in the single currency, they have to cut relative price to regain competitiveness. With very low inflation in Europe, this means they have to cut the price and cut wages, which cause lower growth due to the effect of deflation. If the Eurozone had moderate inflation, it would be easier for certain Europe to adjust and regain competitiveness without resorting to deflation. Next, we will go to Ms. Ika to talk about this advantage.
Okay, disadvantage is inflationary growth tends to be unsustainable, leading to a damaging period of boom and bust economic cycle. For example, the UK saw high inflation in the late 1980s, but this economic boom was unsustainable. And when the government tried to reduce inflation, it led to the recession of 1919 until 1922. Next is inflation can make economy uncompetitive. For example, a relatively higher rate of inflation in Italy can make Italian export uncompetitive, leading to lower AD, a current account deficit, and lower economic growth. This is particularly important for countries in the Eurozone because they can't devalue to restore competitiveness.
Okay, thank you. Miss Anis, can you tell other macroeconomic problem than inflation?
Yes, I can. First, unemployment. It's a cure when economy not achieve full employment, and it also a situation where the resources of labor force are not fully employed in the economy. Next, recession. It's a situation where the economic growth is depressing or gross domestic product keep falling more than 6 months and become negative, also higher rate of unemployment. Lastly, its deficit imbalance of payment. Its BOP is an account record all the transaction of export and import, inflow or outflow, and capital and investment. It's happen when import more than export.
Okay, now we will see the statistic of inflation.
From the graph, we can see the annual inflation rate in Malaysia is to 3.4% in March 2023 after steadying at 3.7% in the previous 2 months. The latest figure came in below market expectation of 3.6% and was the smallest since June 2022.
Okay, Miss Ika. Now we see our country face an extreme inflation. So, what is the solution that we can do to solve the problems?
We can use one of the method to control the inflation, which is monetary policy. First, open market operation. We can selling the securities or short-term bonds. The selling securities can decrease money supply and cash is preserved with the commercial banks. Second, raising the statutory reserve requirement (SRR). We can increase the amount of required reserve that the bank must keep in central bank and decrease the cash resources of commercial bank. For the example, restrict their lending activities or decrease in the supply of money.
Thank you for your explanation, Miss Ika. Do Miss Anis have another method to control the inflation? Can you explain a little bit?
Of course, I have. The another method we call direct control measure. First, price control and rationing. The government will control the price and goods by fixing a floor price and ceiling price. Rationing is used as a last resort. Next, anti-hoarding campaigns. Producer and consumer who store goods because storing can cause an artificial shortage and push price up.
Alright, thank you, Miss. So, we know that effect of inflation is distribution of income, saving, production, and balance of trade. Can you both explain deeply?
Yes, of course. Distribution of income will increase the gap between higher income and lower income group. For saving value of fixed deposit, bond, life insurance policy, and money will be depreciated in terms of real income.
I will continue for the next point, which is balance of trade. Many countries face a deficit balance of trade since import are greater than export. Lastly, in production, general price level rises and producer make higher profit.
Alright, so the conclusion is we know that inflation has good and bad effect on the national economy. The government need cost, time and energy to achieve the country's economic stability. Okay, that's all from our forum for today. Thank you to our panel for using their time for us to tell about inflation. Hope you guys can join us again.